The galaxy had grown quiet. Stars twinkled coldly in the darkness and planets drifted silently in their orbits. Many civilizations had fallen, one by one, under the ruthless rule of the Tyrannix Empire. Ships moved like shadows, taking control of worlds, and fear spread like fire. The Tyrannix were everywhere, and hope seemed like a long-forgotten memory. For countless species, humans were a story of the past, a tale told to children, a warning whispered in fear. Legend said humans had once been strong, clever, and brave. But centuries ago they disappeared. Their fleets vanished, their colonies were erased, and slowly the galaxy learned to forget. Humans became a myth, a fading star in the minds of everyone except the few who still believed in them. On the bridge of a Tyrannix flagship, Admiral Kral stared at a blinking light on his console. He frowned. "It cannot be," he muttered. "A human signal? Impossible. They are extinct." His claws tapped nervously against the cold metal. He had heard the stories, the rumors of strange attacks on isolated supply convoys, and of alien colonies that reported brief flashes of massive ships moving faster than any known technology. "Extinct? Yes, extinct," he said aloud. But even he did not believe it fully. Far beyond the edge of Tyrannix-controlled space, hidden in the shadow of a dying star, a fleet of human ships waited. They were enormous, strong, and silent. Hundreds of vessels stretched across the dark void, each one designed for endurance, speed, and power. The humans had watched the galaxy suffer, silently studying every enemy movement, every weakness. They had learned patience. They had learned strategy. And now, after centuries of waiting, they were ready. Captain Arya Vale stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute, her uniform crisp and her face calm, though her heart beat fast. She had inherited this command from generations of leaders who had protected humanity's secret. She looked at the fleet before her. Ships gleamed like hidden diamonds in the dark, their engines humming softly, waiting for the moment to roar. "We've waited a long time," she whispered to herself. "And now it is time to remind the galaxy who we are." Every officer on the bridge felt the tension. The human fleet had been built not just for war, but for survival. Each ship was packed with advanced weapons, defensive shields, and supplies for years. Yet the humans did not desire unnecessary destruction. They had seen the cost of cruelty, the suffering of innocent lives. Their mission was not revenge. It was justice, protection, and survival. Outside the ship, the darkness of space stretched endlessly. Stars shimmered like distant jewels, but even they seemed to pale in the presence of the hidden human armada. Small scout drones had already begun patrolling the outer edges of Tyrannix territory, sending back encrypted messages that the humans could read, but no enemy could decode. Every signal, every movement had been calculated carefully. The humans were ready to strike, but not recklessly. The galaxy had forgotten humans, but humans had not forgotten the galaxy. They remembered the worlds lost, the families destroyed, the cries for help that had gone unanswered. And now, as the hidden armada prepared to emerge from the shadows, the humans carried not just weapons, but hope. Hope for the oppressed. Hope for the fallen. Hope that a single species, small and long forgotten, could change the course of the entire galaxy. Captain Vale placed her hand lightly on the console. "The time has come," she said softly, yet firmly. "Let the galaxy see what humans can do. Let them remember, we are not extinct. We endure. We survive. And we will protect every life that needs us." In that silent, cold galaxy where fear had reigned for centuries, a new presence stirred. The hidden human armada waited, patient and powerful, ready to remind the universe that legends were real. Humanity had returned, and no one would ever underestimate them again. The galaxy trembled without knowing why. In the outer systems controlled by the Tyrannix, strange things were happening. Supply convoys disappeared, patrol fleets vanished, and entire communication channels went silent. At first, the Tyrannics believed these were small mistakes, accidents of space. But the truth was far more terrifying. Something, or someone, was moving unseen, striking with precision, and then disappearing again. On the bridge of the Tyrannics' capital ship Vorax, Admiral Kral paced nervously. "Reports are coming in from all over," he growled. "Ships vanish without a trace. Planets report unknown fleets nearby. What is happening?" His voice trembled slightly, betraying the fear he tried to hide. For the first time in decades, the Tyrannics felt uncertainty, a feeling they were not used to. Far away in a quiet star cluster cloaked by shadows, human scouts observed every move of the Tyrannics. Drones flew silently, gathering data on patrol patterns, weapon capabilities, and fleet movements. Every report came back to Captain Arya Vale and her command team. She studied the maps projected on the bridge, her eyes sharp and calculating. "They are strong, but they are predictable," she said. "They do not know what to expect. They will panic when the time comes." The Tyrannics were proud and cruel, but even the strongest can falter when confronted by something beyond imagination. And humans had waited long enough to perfect that advantage. The hidden Armada was not just a fleet. It was a strategy, a symbol, and a force that could strike fear without firing a single shot. In distant council chambers, alien leaders began whispering about the impossible. Some dismissed the reports at first, saying, "Humans are extinct. Legends die with time." But others, who had faced them centuries ago, could not forget. Memories of human ingenuity, courage, and relentless determination resurfaced. The whispers grew into panic as more systems reported sightings of massive ships moving faster than light, cloaked and untouchable. On one Tyrannics world, Governor Lethra convened an emergency meeting. "The humans, they have returned," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "This is no longer a story. This is reality, and they are coming for us." Alarm spread through the council like wildfire. The Tyrannics were powerful, but they had never faced an enemy who moved like ghosts, fought like titans, and thought like humans. Meanwhile, humans did not strike indiscriminately. When they encountered small Tyrannics patrols, they disabled them, swiftly, often without killing. Ships were captured, not destroyed. Technology was recovered for study. Every move had purpose. Humans remembered what their ancestors had taught them. Strength without wisdom is destruction. Power without mercy is meaningless. On the Resolute, Captain Vale addressed her officers. "We are not here to destroy everything," she said firmly. "We are here to restore balance. The galaxy has suffered too long. We will show them the cost of tyranny, but also the power of hope. Let fear of humanity remind the galaxy that legends can live, that courage never dies." Admiral Kral, sensing the growing terror among his troops, sent another message. "Find them. Crush them. Do not let humans rise again." But deep inside, he knew something terrifying. The humans were not just a fleet. They were patience, they were intelligence, and they were unstoppable when united. The Tyrannics could attack blindly, but the humans always knew their next move. Outside the shadows of distant stars, the human Armada waited. Engines hummed softly, weapons were ready but held back, and every human aboard knew their role. They were silent protectors, watching a galaxy on the edge of despair, and in that silence, fear began to spread among their enemies. For the first time in centuries, the Tyrannics, the most feared empire in the galaxy, felt doubt. For the first time, whispers of an extinct species grew louder than the roar of their power. Humans had returned, hidden and patient, ready to reshape the galaxy, and the Tyrannics would soon learn that legends do not vanish. They endure, they fight, and when humans rise, the universe remembers them. The galaxy had waited silently for centuries, and now it was about to hear the roar of humanity. Without warning, the hidden human Armada moved. Shadows of massive ships slipped past Tyrannics patrols. cloaked in near invisibility. Their engines were silent, their presence undetectable until the moment of attack. In the darkness above the supply hub of the planet Draven 9, Tyrannic ships patrolled as usual. They were confident, arrogant, believing that no human threat could exist. But confidence was about to crumble. Human scouts had studied their patterns for months. Every weakness, every predictable movement, had been memorized. Captain Arya Vale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, her eyes calm but burning with purpose. "Now," she said softly, "let them remember why humans were never forgotten." She pressed a command, and the Armada surged forward like a living storm. The first explosion lit the void. Tyrannic supply ships were obliterated in a precise, silent strike. There was no warning, no escape. The humans struck with surgical precision, targeting military vessels and leaving civilian stations untouched. Even from a distance, the message was clear. Humans had returned and they fought with honor, but they were unstoppable when defending justice. Admiral Kral's voice bellowed across the Tyrannic's flagship Vorax. "What is this? How can they attack like this?" Panic spread through his crew. Ships turned to flee, but the humans anticipated every move. Using advanced sensors and predictive algorithms, they cut off escape routes, surrounding the Tyrannics with invisible nets of strategy. Explosions rippled across the space above Draven 9, flames of destruction reflected in the eyes of humans watching from their bridge. Yet they felt no joy in the killing. They remembered the lives lost to tyranny, the families destroyed, and the countless civilizations that begged for help too late. This was not revenge. This was justice. One Tyrannic's commander, cornered and desperate, sent a message. "Surrender or face annihilation," he demanded, though he could already see the futility. Captain Vale responded not with anger, but with measured clarity. "We are here to stop your tyranny. Do not mistake justice for cruelty. Surrender peacefully and your lives will be spared." The Tyrannics hesitated, but the humans pressed on. Ships moved with fluid grace, striking at the heart of the enemy fleet. Destroyers and battleships exploded in waves, each strike precise, each movement calculated. The Armada was unstoppable, not because of sheer numbers, but because of perfect coordination, patience, and intelligence. Outside the battle, distant civilizations watched in awe. News of the attack spread like wildfire. Aliens who had never even believed humans existed now witnessed the impossible. Entire fleets were destroyed. In moments, yet humans showed restraint when possible. It was a new kind of power, fearsome, yet righteous. Captain Vale addressed her officers after the first wave of the attack. "This is only the beginning," she said. Her voice carried a quiet, unshakable authority. "We fight not to dominate, but to protect. We fight so the galaxy will never again live in fear. Every action we take must honor the lives we save, not just the battles we win." Admiral Kral, watching from his flagship, realized the truth too late. Humans were not myths. Humans were not weak. They were strategy, intelligence, endurance, and heart, all combined. The legends of old had underestimated them. And now, the galaxy would remember humans as the force that could not be defeated, the species that had survived extinction, and the Armada that emerged from the shadows to reclaim justice. As explosions faded and the first human strike came to a close, silence returned, heavier than before, but this silence was different. The galaxy knew change had begun. The hidden human Armada had shown its power. They had emerged from the shadows, and nothing, not even the mighty Tyrannics, would ever be the same again. The Tyrannics had never known fear like this. Entire fleets, the pride of their empire, had been torn apart in hours. Ships that once seemed invincible now floated in ruins, their crews lost or captured. Rumors spread like wildfire through their ranks. Humans were back, and they were unstoppable. Admiral Kral stood on the bridge of his flagship Vorax, staring at the holographic displays of destroyed vessels. His claws shook as he tapped frantically at the controls. They are everywhere, he muttered, disbelief in his voice. Every plan he had crafted, every strategy he thought would protect his empire, had been anticipated. Every movement of his fleet seemed to be watched, measured, and countered with precision. The humans were not just fighting. They were teaching the galaxy a lesson in patience, intelligence, and courage. In council chambers across the Tyrannic's empire, panic had taken root. Governors, commanders, and leaders gathered in urgent meetings. Some denied the evidence, insisting humans could not exist. Others admitted the terrifying truth. A species long thought extinct had returned, hidden for centuries, and now they were judging the galaxy's rulers. We cannot fight them with our usual tactics, Governor Lythra admitted. Her voice trembled as she spoke to the council. They are stronger, faster, smarter than anything we have faced. If we continue, our empire will crumble completely. The room fell silent. For the first time, the mighty Tyrannic's empire felt the weight of helplessness. Meanwhile, humans did not celebrate their victories. The hidden Armada moved carefully, striking only where necessary. Civilian colonies were untouched. Supply stations and non-combatant worlds were spared. They wanted Tyrannic's power broken, but they wanted lives preserved. Every human knew the cost of cruelty, and every action they took was measured with wisdom and justice. On the Resolute, Captain Arya Vale watched reports come in from across the galaxy. They are desperate, she said softly, but desperation makes enemies dangerous. We must be ready for anything. Her officers nodded, understanding the depth of their mission. Humanity's return was not just about power, it was about responsibility. Every strike carried the weight of centuries of survival, hope, and the lives of those who had suffered under tyranny. The Tyrannic sent envoys to the Galactic Council, begging for help. Humans have returned, they cried. They are destroying everything. We cannot stop them. Alien leaders who had only known humans as stories stared at the reports horrified. Images of the hidden human fleet, immense and perfect in formation, appeared on their holoscreens. For the first time, they realized the legends were true. Humans had survived, grown, and were now a force the galaxy could not ignore. Yet even in their fear, humans did not become oppressors. When some Tyrannic's forces surrendered, they were taken aboard human ships, not destroyed. Weapons were deactivated, prisoners treated with care, and communication offered to anyone willing to cease the war. Captain Vale's voice was calm and firm. We are not your enemy if you choose to live in peace. We fight tyranny, not life itself. Admiral Krall, cornered and shaken, sent frantic orders to regroup and defend key systems. But it was too late. The humans anticipated every move, cutting off escape routes and isolating command ships. Panic spread like wildfire through Tyrannic's ranks. For the first time, the empire that had ruled with fear realized it could be defeated. Outside the systems under siege, the galaxy watched in awe and relief. Star systems that had long suffered under Tyrannic's oppression began whispering hope. The humans had returned not only as warriors, but as saviors. Their hidden Armada was proof that even legends can come back stronger than ever, that courage and patience can reshape the fate of an entire galaxy. Captain Vale looked out at the stars, her face calm but resolute. This is only the beginning, she said quietly. They have felt fear for the first time, and now they will learn respect. We do not destroy without cause, but we never back down from protecting what is right. Humanity survives. And when we act, the galaxy will remember us forever. And in that desperate, trembling moment, the Tyrannics learned what humans had always known. Strength without wisdom is hollow. Power without mercy is meaningless. But courage guided by honor can change everything. The galaxy was changing. The Tyrannics, once the unchallenged rulers of countless star systems, now found themselves on the defensive. Their pride had been shattered, their fleets reduced to scattered fragments, and their once feared warriors trembling in fear. Every move they made was anticipated, every plan countered. Humanity had returned, not as myth, not as legend, but as an unstoppable force. Captain Arya Vale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the stars and the data streaming in from their scouts. "They are trying to regroup," she said calmly, though her eyes shone with intensity. "But they cannot. They do not understand us. They cannot predict what we will do next." Her officers nodded, their confidence in her leadership absolute. The human fleet moved like a single living organism, graceful, precise, and deadly. Above the binary star system of Viridian, the Tyrannics made their desperate stand. Their flagship Vorax led a formation of their remaining warships, hoping to strike a decisive blow. But the humans were ready. The Armada surrounded them with invisible grids, trapping their ships before they could even fire a single volley. Humans had studied every possible strategy, predicting moves before they were made. The Tyrannics were not facing enemies. They were facing inevitability. "Open fire," Captain Vale commanded softly, and the human ships responded with deadly precision. Plasma beams sliced through enemy hulls. Explosions blossomed like stars being born and dying at the same time. Tyrannics. Destroyers crumbled under the coordinated assault. Every strike was perfect, every movement rehearsed. The humans were not just fighting. They were teaching the galaxy a lesson in courage, strategy, and honor. Admiral Krall shouted orders, his voice cracking with frustration. "Form defensive lines, regroup, do not let them reach the core fleet." But the humans anticipated each move. They cut off retreat routes, disabled key weapon systems, and captured command ships. In hours, the Tyrannics were surrounded, exhausted, and broken. Even then, humans did not show cruelty beyond necessity. Civilian transports and surrendering vessels were spared. Prisoners were treated with care. Every action was measured, guided, not by anger, but by principle. Captain Vale addressed her fleet, her voice calm and resolute. "We fight for justice, not vengeance. We will not destroy what can be saved, but we will never hesitate against tyranny." The Tyrannics began to plead. Messages of surrender flooded human communication channels. We beg for mercy," commanders cried. "Do not destroy us. We will obey." It was a sound the galaxy had never heard from the once mighty Tyrannics. Fear, desperation, and humility all at once. Humans had not only defeated them, they had forced recognition of their power, their honor, and their principles. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations watched in awe. Planets that had cowered under Tyrannics' rule whispered hope for the first time in centuries. The hidden human armada had done more than fight. It had reminded the galaxy that courage, patience, and wisdom could overcome even the most feared oppressors. "Captain." Vale looked at the stars, her hands resting lightly on the console. "He tide has turned," she said quietly. "They will learn that no empire is eternal. They will learn that humanity, once underestimated, is a force that protects, that endures, that inspires. Let this victory remind the galaxy that we fight. For more than survival, we fight for justice, hope, and life itself." And as the last Tyrannic ships fell into surrender or retreat, the human fleet held its formation, a silent, powerful reminder of what they represented. Not destruction, not fear, but endurance, intelligence, and honor. The tide had turned, and the galaxy would never again forget the name of humanity. In that moment, the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter. A new era had begun, a time when humans, long hidden and underestimated, would rise to restore balance, justice, and hope to a galaxy that had almost lost both. The Tyrannics were broken, their pride shattered, their fleet reduced to scattered remnants. Once they had ruled the galaxy with fear and cruelty. Now they trembled before a species they had long considered extinct. Humanity had not just returned, they had proven that legends could live, endure, and rise stronger than ever. Admiral Krall sat slumped on the command chair of his flagship Vorax, staring at the humans' forces arrayed before him. His claws twitched nervously as he tried to issue orders, but the messages went unanswered. Every escape route had been cut. Every fleet they had thought invincible was now either destroyed or captured. The Tyrannics realized in that quiet moment of despair that they were at the mercy of humans. Captain Arya Vale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, calm and unwavering. Her fleet had achieved a decisive victory, yet she did not celebrate. Humanity's strength had always been more than weapons or numbers. It had been guided by intelligence, patience, and morality. She looked across the stars where the Tyrannic's fleet had surrendered. "Prepare to secure the enemy ships," she ordered. "Do not harm those who surrender. Let the galaxy see that humanity fights with honor." Her officers obeyed silently, boarding Tyrannic ships and disabling weapons. Prisoners were taken carefully, treated with care, and offered food and medical aid. Messages of peace and guidance were sent to every corner of the Tyrannic's empire. "We do not destroy what can be saved," Captain Vale said softly. "We end this war not with cruelty, but with justice." The Tyrannics, once cruel conquerors, were now pleading. We underestimated you," one commander admitted, trembling. "Please, spare our people. Guide us. We beg for survival." For the first time in their history, the Tyrannics felt humility. They were learning from a species they had considered myths, a species that had waited in silence, hidden, and now wielded power with wisdom. The galaxy watched in awe. Civilizations that had suffered under Tyrannic's rule whispered hope and amazement. The hidden human armada had not only defeated a mighty empire, they had set an example. Strength, they realized, could be tempered with mercy. Power could be guided by justice. Humans had returned not to dominate, but to restore balance. On the Resolute, Captain Vale addressed her officers. "This is what humanity represents," she said. "We endure, we fight, but we do not destroy without purpose. We protect life. We restore hope. Let every action we take show the galaxy what humans truly are, not conquerors, but guardians of justice." Her voice carried calm authority, and her crew felt pride and resolve ripple through them. Admiral Krall, now a humbled figure, realized the truth. The humans had not just won battles, they had won respect. They had shown the galaxy that true strength was more than firepower. It was patience, strategy, honor, and compassion. The Tyrannics had ruled through fear, but humanity ruled through principle, and that was far more powerful. In distant star systems, civilizations whispered of the humans who had returned. They spoke of ships that had emerged from the shadows, of fleets that struck with precision, and of leaders who chose mercy over destruction. The galaxy began to understand that humanity was not a species to be feared blindly. It was a force to be admired, respected, and followed. Captain Vale looked at the stars once more, her expression calm yet fierce. "We have shown them the cost of tyranny," she said quietly. "We have shown them that patience and honor guide us. Humanity endures, and when we act, we change the galaxy, not just with weapons, but with courage, wisdom, and hope." And in that moment, the Tyrannics learned what they had never understood, that humans, even after centuries of hiding, could emerge not only victorious but merciful, guiding the galaxy toward a future where fear no longer ruled and hope could flourish. The galaxy was quiet again, but this time it was not silence born of fear. It was the calm after a storm, the storm of justice, courage, and the return of humanity. Planets once trembling under Tyrannic's rule now began to whisper hope. Star systems that had suffered for centuries finally breathed freely. The hidden human armada, having emerged from the shadows, had changed the galaxy forever. Captain Arya Vale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, her eyes scanning the horizon of stars. The battle was over. Tyrannic's forces had surrendered, their fleets disabled or captured, their leaders humbled. But for humans, victory was not measured in explosions or destruction. It was measured in lives saved, civilizations protected, and hope restored. Across the galaxy, alien leaders who had once doubted the existence of humans now bowed in awe and respect. "They are not myths," whispered Governor Lethra, who had survived the surrender. "They are real, and they are powerful beyond imagination." For the first time, the galaxy understood that humans were more than warriors. They were a force of endurance, wisdom, and justice. On distant worlds, people celebrated quietly, knowing that help had arrived. Children looked at the skies and dreamed of a future without fear. Families reunited after years of terror. The humans had not just won battles, they had restored faith in life itself. The Armada's presence was a promise. Tyranny could fall, and hope could endure. Captain Vale addressed her fleet, her voice calm yet commanding. "We have struck fear into those who would enslave and destroy," she said. "But let us never forget why we fight. Humanity survives not for power, but for justice. Humanity endures not for vengeance, but to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Today the galaxy remembers that hope can never be erased." The Tyrannics, once cruel conquerors, were now students of humility. Their leaders, including Admiral Krall, had witnessed the strength of patience, strategy, and mercy combined. "We have underestimated humans for centuries," Krall admitted quietly. "But they have shown us what true power is. Not the power to destroy, but the power to save." Humanity's actions had reshaped their minds, teaching them that fear was not the path to lasting rule. Justice and honor were. As the Armada moved across the galaxy, every planet it passed felt the presence of protection and courage. The humans offered guidance, repaired damaged systems, and ensured that Tyrannic's influence could not rise again. Each action, carefully planned and executed, sent the same message. Humans had returned, and when humans protect, the galaxy survives. "Captain." Vale looked at the stars one last time before her ship prepared to move to the next system. "We have reminded the galaxy of one truth," she said softly. "Legends do not die. Courage never fades. Humanity endures. And when we rise, hope rises with us." In that moment, across countless worlds, the galaxy knew peace would not come easily, but it could come with humans standing as guardians. The hidden human armada had emerged from the shadows not for conquest, not for glory, but to teach a lesson that would last for generations. Survival is only meaningful when it protects life, and strength is only noble when tempered with mercy. Stars twinkled brightly, reflecting the hope that had returned. Planets once broken began to heal. Civilizations once enslaved began to rebuild, and the humans, long thought extinct, sailed silently among the stars, a reminder that legends are real. Courage endures, and the galaxy will never again forget humanity. Captain Vale turned to her officers with a quiet smile. "This is a new dawn," she said. "The galaxy has seen humanity rise from the shadows, and from now on, when anyone speaks of legends, they will speak of us." The Resolute led the fleet onward, a shining symbol of endurance, justice, and hope. Humanity had returned, not as a myth but as a beacon. The galaxy would never be the same. And for the first time in centuries, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if celebrating the rise of those who had waited patiently, struck decisively, and led with honor.